Hi, I'm Tobias and I'll introduce Project Syn to you. At the end of this talk, you will have an idea what Project Syn is all about. Do you remember the times we used to manage virtual machines? We usually used some provisioning tool to automatically spin up virtual machines at any given virtual machine provider. That might be the public cloud, your virtual infrastructure, or wherever else. The automation tooling made sure the VM gets provisioned and is up and running. After that, usually the VMs were empty, no applications were installed and no configuration was applied. After that, we logged in manually and installed all the things we needed. No, I think we didn't do that manually. We usually used a configuration management tool like Puppet, Chef, SaltStack or Ansible. These tools made then sure that automatically all applications were installed, configuration applied and the service is up and running. This process was done by installing an agent, registering the server somewhere, pointing the agent there and then grab a coffee, have a chat with your team colleague, and after a few minutes the services were installed and up and running. After some time you might have logged into the virtual machines, did some configuration changes to test the latest stuff, but after that the configuration management agent made sure that the configuration was reverted back to how it was described in the configuration management tooling. This made sure that there was no configuration drift, making this more or less an immutable infrastructure. But you might also have used several different infrastructures. You might have virtual machines running in the cloud, on your data center or wherever else. You might also use different Linux distributions with several different flavors, but this is all abstracted away by your configuration management system because it knows all about how to handle these different locations and different Linux distributions. Everything you did was telling your configuration management system what to do on these virtual machines, and then the configuration management agent did its job to apply this configuration and install the applications you specified in code. Do you also remember how we manage Kubernetes clusters? There was a time when we had just one or two carefully handcrafted Kubernetes clusters. Nowadays this looks a bit different. We usually have more than one Kubernetes cluster running and also more clusters to look for than we had in the past. The automation tooling available today reminds me of the time we managed virtual machines. You describe your Kubernetes cluster, run the tooling, and after some time you have a fully up and running Kubernetes cluster. But then again, the Kubernetes cluster is still empty, has no applications installed, no services running, just a plain empty Kubernetes cluster. What do you do now? You might have a carefully crafted CI/CD pipeline to deploy your applications there to one or two Kubernetes clusters, and that's it. But now you might have 10, 50 or even 100 Kubernetes clusters. What do you do then? Do you still use your CI/CD pipeline or do you want to do it differently? What if you could just install an agent on the Kubernetes cluster, have a coffee and a chat with your colleague, and after some time the Kubernetes cluster is fully configured, your applications installed up and running? That would be cool. And this is exactly what brings me to Project Syn now. Project Syn solves your configuration management needs for multiple Kubernetes clusters. It is a set of tools to securely manage a fleet of Kubernetes clusters just like they were VMs. It reuses already existing tooling and glues them together by providing custom tooling, which makes of Project Syn. With its hierarchical configuration management and having GitOps at its core, it's capable of taking care of a lot of Kubernetes clusters. Reusability is key. The concept of Conventory Components helps Project Syn users to not have to reinvent the wheel and profit by having access to carefully crafted components, having best practices already built in. It allows to compose your configuration management tooling for your Kubernetes clusters. Let's compare Project Syn to a well-known configuration management tool called Puppet. mainly because Project Syn borrows a lot of ideas from Puppet. Let's start with the Puppet modules. These are the key of reusability in the land of Puppet. Let's assume you want to install and configure Apache on your virtual machines. You go to Puppet Forge, download a module, parameterize it to your needs and apply it to a virtual machine. Soon after that you will have Apache up and running and having the correct configuration applied. The same concept is backed into Conventory Components. These are the reusable key components of Project Syn, which allows you to do exactly the same. If you, for example, want to deploy the Nginx ingress controller on your Kubernetes clusters, you would then take the matching Conventory component, parameterize it, and it will then get applied to your Kubernetes clusters. Then we have the Puppet server. It is responsible to compile a catalog for your Puppet agent to do its job. It does this by getting information about the server, called facts, and pass these parameters to a Puppet module, which then gets parameterized, compiled, and sent to the Puppet agent, which does its job by installing Apache and configuring it, for example. Same in Project Syn, this is done by Commodore. It gets its information from the central inventory, passes this information to the compilation engine, Capitan, and will output a catalog of YAML files which then can be applied to the Kubernetes cluster. The Puppet DB is the central instance which holds information about your virtual machines, like facts and other information about it. The same in Project Syn is called Lieutenant. It's the central inventory which holds information about your Kubernetes clusters and facts about them, for example, what Kubernetes distribution it is and where it is located. This information is used by Commodore to compile the catalog. Then we have the Puppet agent, which is installed on every virtual machine managed by Puppet. In our case, this tool is called Steward, and it makes sure that it contacts the Lieutenant API, feeds in back information, and it also makes sure that Argo CD is perfectly installed and up and running on a Kubernetes cluster to actually apply the configuration generated by Commodore. Last but not least, Puppet knows a component called Hiera, which is the hierarchical configuration database in the backend to, for example, have a set of common configuration parameters which apply to all virtual machines you manage via Puppet. And we have the same in Project Syn, which is called Capitan Reclass. It is also there to have a common set of configuration parameters applied to all your Kubernetes clusters, which then can be overridden, for example, by location or by the type of Kubernetes distribution. You have now heard of the custom tooling of Project Syn. But without any of these upstream tooling, it wouldn't be possible to do such a thing as Project Syn does. We are relying on many third-party tools, and these are the most important ones. Capitan is the engine which we are using to render the catalog and make the hierarchical configuration possible. Without it, it would be very hard to do. Thanks a lot to this great project. Argo CD also helps us a lot. It applies configuration to the cluster, makes sure that it is running, and also is able to report back the status. Very cool tool. Renovate keeps our components up to date. It queries upstream, and if there is a new version available, it creates a pull request and helps us to keep up to date with all the changes upstream. On the other hand, we have Vault, which securely stores secrets. With the tight integration into Capitan, this allows us to have a truly secure fashion of delivering configuration to Kubernetes clusters. We never ever store secrets in Git, not even encrypted secrets. We only store references and then let Capitan reveal these secrets during the apply phase of Argo CD. Last but not least, we are using GitLab heavily to store the catalog and to enable GitOps in its true fashion. Let's have a very quick look at the architecture of Project Syn. I won't go into details here because that would take another hour. In the middle we have Commodore, which is the component which compiles the catalog for a Kubernetes cluster. For being able to do that, it talks to Lieutenant, which has a list of all available Kubernetes clusters, including their parameters. With these parameters, it is able to compile these Commodore components and parameterize them and store the result of it into a Git repository. Then we have Steward, which is running on each Kubernetes cluster, which connects to Lieutenant to get the information about this Kubernetes cluster, but also to serve some information about the Kubernetes cluster, like the SSH deploy key and other information about the cluster. It also bootstraps Argo CD, configures Argo CD, and makes sure that Argo CD runs all the time and doesn't break down. Argo CD, on the other hand, is then configured to directly connect to the catalog cluster repository, which holds the information generated by Commodore. Also, we have Vault in the middle, which stores secrets. Some of these secrets are auto-generated by Lieutenant, other secrets are hand-fed into it, but all of it is retrieved only on runtime by the plugin of Capitan in Argo CD itself. You see there are a lot of input parameters for Commodore, which makes up all the pipeline to have a hierarchical configuration management system. Let's conclude the features of Project Syn. In its core, it's a configuration management tooling for your Kubernetes clusters. It does that by bringing you full GitOps operations and automation all around. But in my opinion, the most important feature of Project Syn is reusability. With the sheer amount of already available Commodore components, you don't have to reinvent the wheel again and again, and you can profit from the experience of the writer of the Commodore component. You also do not have to care anymore about how to manage secrets in your deployment configuration pipeline. All of this is baked in by reusing Vault and Capitan Reveal, which are very important topics for securely managing a Kubernetes cluster. With Lieutenant, you have an inventory about all your Kubernetes clusters and you don't lose track about them anymore. Although Project Syn is used in production and in several projects, it's still in full development towards a 1.0 release. All the planning happens on GitHub with issues and projects. Let's have a look at the roadmap we are up to right now. On one hand, at the moment you have to call Commodore by hand to compile a catalog. We want to automate that so that compilation happens in the background and automatically. Also, we are thinking of getting rid of the Lieutenant API and replace it by direct access to the Kubernetes API to make things a bit easier in the land of Project Syn. Also, a big important topic is user experience. So if you start using Project Syn, please let us know what we could improve in terms of user experience. This could also end up in a Syn CLI, which will be the sole entry point into all Project Syn tasks. Last but not least, we are working on a Commodore component hub, which will be your entry point to discover the already existing Commodore components. So if you want to know more, please head over to syn.tools and have a look at the roadmap there. If I was able to catch your interest in Project Syn, you can head over to syn.fan/start and read the Getting Started guide. It helps you to get Project Syn up and running step by step, and you will learn a lot while doing it. If you have any questions, you will find a link to the chat in the documentation page where you can ask your questions and we will be there to help you. More information about Project Syn can be found on the main project site, which is reachable under syn.tools. We have a Commodore component tutorial available for you, and all is stored on GitHub under the Project Syn organization. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope this presentation gave you an idea about what Project Syn is. Thank you very much and see you soon.